Show and Tell Boston After Dark. Today's topic is about the spectrum of sexuality. I'm with my co-host
Shay Afrique.
And can I get you guys to go around and tell us who you are, what you do, and how you identify your sexuality?
Hi, I am Netta, Boston Barbie on Facebook. I'm in retail and I'm a mom, and that's about it.
Wait, what's your sexuality?
Oh, I'm a
Just get past
lesbian,
that.
but I'm a lesbian.
What is it? Okay, we'll get into that.
I am Dandy. I'm pansexual, and I'm a professional dominatrix.
Classy.
Oh, you got one.
I am Mashiri the God. I am a poet, artist, and the owner of the Gag brand, which is the only black woman-owned condom company. The Gag stands for the girls and the gays. I'm whatever the letter is that loves women but is attracted to men but don't want men touching them. That's me.
It's very important.
Awesome. My name is Richard Lopez. I'm a real estate investor, licensed electrician, and I also am a host of a podcast as well. I am straight or heterosexual.
My name is Naz. I'm an artist and I'm pansexual.
My name is Kareem. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, and I guess I would identify as pan. Mostly attracted to men, but there's really no limits.
I like that. Hello, my name is Tiara Angus. I also am Afro-centered media. I'm doing photography and miscellaneous artwork. I'm also like a librarian on the side. I'm also 9 months pregnant. And yes. I'm
9
also,
months.
So none of this alcohol she's touching.
Girl.
She's not touching none
so
of
it's
that.
about to happen. I'm also pansexual, mainly romantic with ladies, and yeah.
So a
that's the
biased
vibe.
pansexual.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but pansexual in a real way.
Gotcha.
Like my attraction is.
So
Yes.
this right here is supposed to be a safe space. I know these topics are going to get like a little bit hard, or they can get a little like spicy. But the first question is sexuality something that you're born with, or something that society kind of molds you and makes you into what you are today?
Yes.
Before I knew what sexuality was, I was making out with my neighbor's daughters. So I don't think that it is society influenced. It was just something that I knew I wanted to do. And at such a young age, I was staying true to myself. So I feel like it is something that is in you. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that it's an age thing. I don't think that it can hit you at any time. So it can change at any time. But for me, I don't think it was a society influence type of thing.
And you think it can change at any point in time?
For some, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For me, I know what I like.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Cool.
Period.
So I think when it comes to sexuality, I think some people are born, right, liking the same gender or whatever it is. But I think a lot of people aren't. And then they get influenced by society, all the stuff they see on social media, even their parenting or whatever the case is, when they say it's okay to be this, this, or that. And then they get kind of pushed in a way to be like the cool things to be homosexual. Mm-hmm. So then they get pushed to be homosexual even though they don't want to be homosexual.
When that happened?
I mean, it's what's taught all the time. I mean, there's gender study classes now in elementary school, middle school, high school. Yeah, go crazy.
Gender study classes are definitely not just about like homosexuality or sexuality at all. They're literally like exactly what they're called, gender studies. So that means you learn about like the different genders, and there also aren't just two genders either. It's like just that as a whole, you know what I mean? Like that whole realm of learning. I think it's something that is, for one, it's actually always been taught in schools, gender studies, because I have professors who took gender studies classes. But yeah, I think that now as a society, we're just coming to a place where we want to be knowledgeable on things more often than not, which is why people are like leaning into that and learning about it. I can see what you're saying about feeling like homosexuality is more popularized now and like it's trendy. There are different things that trend at different times in society, but also I think that it's cool that people are exploring that side of themselves and not fearing it. You know what I mean? Because for such a long time, we would shy away from that, or even if you felt like an inkling of that, of being gay or being queer or, you know, being anywhere else that wasn't heteronormative on the spectrum, you were shunned. So.
And what's your name again?
Richard.
Richard.
That was a direct response. So you should reply to her, and then you go right after.
Oh, he has to reply to her? What if he wants to sit and marinate in the thought? You know?
Yeah.
Right, 'cause
First
definitely
off,
wanna
right,
reply.
don't attack me, all right? Because I come in all safe arms, right? I'm not trying to fight nobody here. I am a sensitive man, all right? So don't get me going, because I'll cry.
No, I don't want to.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, I'm not.
It's too late. No, I'm kidding. You won't make me cry. You won't make me
Be
cry.
mindful of the language that you're using around this topic.
True.
Because there are certain words that are like.
So, because it's recorded.
Grab that mic. Grab that mic.
There are certain language that is normalized in speaking about this topic that is not super sensitive, and because you are in a room full of people who are on the spectrum of sexuality, which is a spectrum, which means that it continues forever in both directions, and there's not one fixed place, right? That means that you should be mindful of, you know, how we're speaking to each other.
To tell me to watch how I speak because I might hurt somebody's feelings. I mean, I was saying I'm sensitive. I'm actually not. That was a joke. But the whole point is that you're telling me to speak a certain way so I don't hurt other people's feelings. How other people feel on how I speak is not my problem. So I'm gonna speak how I want to speak. That's no offense to you. Mm-hmm. It's just that I feel like sometimes, right? People will feel a certain type of way. They'll want to say how they feel, but then they'll be afraid to hurt somebody's feelings. I don't really care. You guys don't affect my life in any type of way.
Right.
So I'm going to say what I want to say.
Right. So what we want to do, we want everybody to be able to get out their thoughts, their opinions. We want everybody to be able to voice their perspectives. It may not be the perspective that you agree with. It may be insulting, but as long as we speak with some respect, you know, no one wants to tell you what to say because how you feel may come out in a way that's gonna piss somebody off. But as long as you be mindful of your words and just a little bit thoughtful. However, I will say that I agree with Richard in the sense that I'm not sure if you're born gay. I want to say yes, but because as an educator, you know, I've been around children for like over 20 years and like, you know, I've seen children at young ages show you who they are without influence from their parents. So for example, you see two heterosexual parents and you have a young child who's showing you they may not be heterosexual. But I also do agree that society plays a part in people's changing of sexualities. I personally know others who say, you know, it wasn't until I was molested that I started having these feelings towards that gender, or it wasn't until I witnessed something that I started, you know, wanted to explore. So then it leads to the question, well, if you didn't witness that, or if you didn't have that sexual trauma, would you feel that way still? So I do feel like there's a nature versus nurture situation. Naturally, I don't have the science to say we are definitely born gay and I could prove it to you. But again, in my experience, young children like age of 3, 4 can kind of show you may not be heterosexual when you get older. You know what I mean? And no one has influenced that child.
So I agree with both of you guys to an extent. You said there's more than 2 genders or something like that. I do believe there is just 2 genders, and I'm gay. I'm a lesbian, but I do not believe in the non-binary middle ground. You're man, you're woman. You can dress this way, dress that way, but there's 2 genders. There's penis and there's vagina.
How do you feel about the? How do you feel? I didn't interrupt, but how do you feel about the they them pronoun?
I'm not they them and nobody. It's her, him, and you could tell me if you prefer to be called her or him, and I will address you as that.
I agree. I think the they them is silly. That's why.
If you just have 2 body parts, one or the other. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You can change it.
It's actually not true.
Well,
that is true.
So there is the when you're born like with the 2, yeah. So I mean I don't know much about that. Science wise, I don't know much about that. The first question was, do you believe that you were born or encouraged to be gay? I believe that was the first question.
Yes.
I do believe that some people are born that way, some people are encouraged that way, and nowadays more people are encouraged to just try new things. I also believe that every woman has a bisexual bone in their body. If they are intrigued by another woman, it just be what it is. I don't believe that all men have that same thing. I don't know how the science goes with that either, but I do believe that women could be turned out to another woman no matter what. Even like college dorm rooms, your pillow fighting, all that type of stuff happens. Men don't really do that too much. To my knowledge,
Is that pillow fights?
Okay.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you know,
you're
that's
right.
how I
Straight
feel.
men don't do
that's
that.
how I feel.
Straight men do not do that.
I feel like I was born gay. My mother is a lesbian. My father is straight as an arrow. He's straight. But I have been encouraged, or in life, have changed my mind a little bit to be attracted to men more as I got older. So I don't know what the science, like I said, of any of that is. But that's just my perspective.
Deep.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So, if you are on the phone with somebody and you cannot identify their gender, what do you do?
Ask them what they are. Oh, sorry.
Many times we
You
can by
ask them.
voice.
I asked them,
You ask
excuse me, am I
them?
asking to, or what's your name? Probably what's their name, because like a John is probably a man, a Sarah is probably a woman, so I probably would ask their name, or I would just boo them. Hey boo, hi honey, and just not ask their gender, because I don't have to ask their gender to have the conversation with
would.
them. I could just have a conversation with them normal. It doesn't matter.
Without the need of a gender identity.
I can have a conversation with them, absolutely, as long as we're not talking about sexual things. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, beautiful. And next thing, so if an Amazon driver delivered something, how would you explain it? Like, oh, the Amazon driver came up. Or if the Amazon driver came, you're not going to be like, she dropped off this, or
No,
he
I
dropped
would
off
say
this. You like, they dropped off the thing to the house. They dropped off the thing to the house.
Just how you said
if
it.
you saw the
You didn't see
person,
them. If you didn't see them in this scenario, they did not say anything.
I would
So
probably
that's
say
when the
Amazon
they-
dropped something off.
That's
The
when the
Amazon-
they.
Yeah.
That's when
Or-
the they
or the
them
company,
would
yeah.
well, she's saying
pop
you didn't
up.
see them, you don't even know the name.
I don't know.
The Amazon driver. It's not they Amazon. It's the Amazon.
I
driver.
know where you're
Yeah.
getting
Makes
at.
no
I know where
Yes.
you're getting at, because we would say they delivered my package. However, again, teacher cap. I feel the same way about the they thing, because they symbolizes more than one person.
No.
So when someone's like they, it's like, where are they? Oh, just hit that one person. Okay, well, he, she, I understand the new way of trying to explain that I don't want to be he or she. I get that. If someone doesn't want to be he or she, they don't want that label, and they say call me they, I'll call you they. But in my world, or in the factual world of literacy, they represents more than one person.
So in the scenario
But I will
that
respect
just
you. But in
laid
my
out-
opinion, I don't think I wouldn't say it's silly, but I don't necessarily agree with that
So
form of
but
thinking
hold on.
either.
In the scenario that I just laid out with the they just dropped off whatever, does that indicate multiple people dropped off this package?
That they would be improper
It would be
way.
Amazon.
It would be improper grammar, but it'd be
They
our,
would be Amazon,
it'd be
the company.
our
As
way. It'd be
Amazon.
our way of not knowing if it's a he or she, and it's
company.
also our way of thinking it could be more than one person in the truck. But I don't want to get caught up on
Hold on, no, that analogy
that particular
the analogy you're using-
example.
The analogy you're using does not make
Yeah,
sense.
you know what I mean?
It does
Because
not make
it
sense
doesn't
here at
really
all. That
equate
makes no
to what
sense.
we
That's-
really want. I know what you want to say.
Wait, well,
Well, it's more like when you do not know somebody's gender, what do you do?
well,
You
I've never
refer to
not
them as
knew
they,
no
and that's
one
what we
anyway.
learned in that's what we learned in grammar. That's literally what we learned in ELA in elementary school. I don't know if y'all remember. I'm 24. I'm turning 25 next year.
There's
I'm 24 years old.
there's
but-
expansion of languages. That's it. Like,
Right.
That's
said-
it.
No,
I
you
get
learned
what
how to
you
speak
mean.
language.
I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
other
Yeah.
languages on
Time.
Duolingo right now, and we use the word they to refer to a person who you do not know what they identify
It's true.
as.
That is kind of
It's true. Across
They did
languages.
that.
They
like,
did that.
You know what I mean? But also, too,
They are drinking milk. Are we drinking milk?
Yeah, but in this scenario,
We use it like that, but that's not how it's supposed to be
In
used.
this
You know what I'm
scenario,
saying?
they
Like,
would
we
be
change
Amazon
words all the
Corporation.
time. It's called slang. It's called dialect, and we can change words right now. We can, I can say ain't, and it's improper, but you know what I'm saying, and no one will correct me because that's a part of our everyday language. So again, just like Americans, just like human beings, we can create our own language. We can give new words meaning, right? We could be caught up on the dictionary part of it, some folks, and we can be, innovative and say, well, now that's how we use it, but those disparities say you got folks who are caught up on that's not right. They means more than one. And then you got folks who say, well, the new term that we use, and folks got to accept it.
Let Richard go. Let Richard go.
It's
Sorry.
not a new term. It's not a new term. That's what we're also trying to say.
So
Let Richard go.
real quick, right? I mean, we're arguing. It's like a politics argument where it doesn't make any sense. All right, you're arguing they and them. What does it mean? They is when you say they, it's a group of people. When you say them, it's a group of people. So to say my gender is they, them, you're multiple people, that makes no sense. Now you're trying to change up the English language.
You're simplifying.
No, you're
what
trying to make
we
it
just laid
overcomplicated.
out.
You're trying to make
I'm
it
sorry.
overcomplicated.
So, I'm sorry,
You're
I don't
trying
wanna
to
cut
change
you
up
off.
the English language
let him finish,
because
please.
of how you feel. That makes no sense.
So what I
just-
meant,
no
we
sense.
just we went over
what I
this
meant
just
when
now.
I said something about
You're
her
literally
saying
trying to
did
change
this.
the whole
We-
English language.
we touched and
when I
agreed.
said something about what you said about the gender, I didn't really mean to go back and forth with the they and them thing, because that's where y'all going. I meant like body parts. There is only a vagina or a penis. Now, what you said about I don't know what it's called, but whatever they was calling Sierra back in the day,
That
when
is
she had
sex.
sideburns or
Sex and
whatever.
gender are two different
She
things.
was like a hermaphrodite, I think they call it, or whatever, when you're both. I don't know much about that, and I don't know what
That's
they
called
classify
intersex.
as far as sexuality. But I'm just saying, like, there's men and women. That's all I was trying to say. And then you can transform yourself or, be transgender or get surgery or whatever the case may be to be something else. That's fine. And people have to respect what you want to be called after that. But I was just kind of saying, like, the scientific part, like, the body parts. That's all.
We have time for one person to give their final thoughts, and we got to move on.
Okay. As Kareem was stating earlier, gender and sex are two different things. So the sexes that we know of in society are male and female, right? And that's what we use to identify humans, animals, plants. Because we have done so much research and I also want to reiterate that I'm not here to change anybody's mind or make anybody feel any different about anything,
definitely.
because I firmly believe that everything is everything. That's why we're talking about sexuality as a spectrum, because it's expansive, right? That's Yara was saying. But there are other genders. There are people who are born with both genitals. There are people who are born and their bodies have an excess of both hormones or more of one hormone than the other, so it makes them present in one way, but society might identify them as something else. Just because these things aren't normalized or spoken about or publicized as much, and what has been publicized is the heteronormative.
So on their birth certificate, what does it say, though?
Sometimes it says both. You can look it up on Google.
Okay. Educate me, because I see.
Sorry,
Sometimes
Jeanette,
it says both.
wrap it
Sometimes
up,
it says
wrap it up.
they don't know. Sometimes it might say something disrespectful, something very rude, something that has traumatized them, up until adulthood. And only now are people in a safe space to speak about those things or be educated about those things in a space like this, which is why we're having the conversation, because sexuality is trending right now. It's the topic of discussion.
Okay, so the next question is, should schools teach sexuality? If not, whose job is it? Danny, you've been silent too.
I do have an answer.
Yes. Let's go. Let's hear.
I wish that parents could teach their kids this stuff, but parents' knowledge is very limited. We all, everyone learns, I'm sure my knowledge is extremely limited in a lot of these things, but my parents would not have been capable of teaching me about sexuality or anything like this. And I know a lot of people wouldn't be able to. So I think that we really need to be putting a lot of time and effort and money into finding legitimate educators who can give everyone this big spectrum of information on this big spectrum of people. So I think it should be in schools.
And just question, why weren't your parents able to teach you, if that's not too personal?
No, I think that just, they were heterosexual, cisgendered people, and this kind of information really wasn't made available. And if I hadn't kind of come into my own sexuality of being pansexual, meeting other pansexual people and other people of different genders, of all this different stuff, I wouldn't have gotten this information from them, that's for sure. And if I passed that down to my kid, they'd be getting just the limited information I had. So parents kind of oftentimes get, if they're sheltered, their kid might be sheltered. If your kid never breaks out of that shelter, they're never going to have that information to spread and to share. And I think trained educators, part of their job is to train and to learn things from multiple sources, legitimate sources, and learning from educators.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that because if your parents could be biased in their sexuality,
that could absolutely, that could be true too. They just never had exposure to a lot of this stuff. I'm not meaning to bounce back to the old topic of being born with it, but I definitely feel I was born with it because as a child I wanted to be a boy because I wanted to hold girls' hands. I thought that was the only way to do it. And because my parents couldn't, my parents they're very smart people, but they just weren't going to tell a 5-year-old, well, you could be a lesbian, or you could be, bisexual, pansexual, or anything like that. So my only thing I knew was I wish I was a boy because I want to hold girls' hands. So that's where my knowledge was limited until I got out and actually heard about this stuff. I get all blushy about it.
And Richard, I seen you grab the mic.
I wanted him to say something. I don't know.
You want? She's baiting you, bro.
Yeah,
I am. No. I'm actually going to tell you guys why I'm baiting Richard, because one of the first things he said is that he's sensitive and don't make him cry. And then he came out and he said he don't give a fuck how people feel about his opinion. I'm a reciprocator. Whatever energy you put out there, I'm a reciprocate it. Might even be times 10.
She's gonna make
if
you
we're
cry,
being
bro.
honest. So.
There's no girl that's gonna make me cry. First off, if
Your daughter, your first daughter.
Sit up a little bit.
if she thinks a 5'1", 140-pound girl is gonna make me cry, you're out of your mind. I'm a grown man, and now.
Actually 115, and I'm 5'5".
I'm sorry, I didn't mean no. I didn't. No, the
I'm
weight
like,
thing. The
I'm
weight
gonna
thing. No, the
cry.
weight thing. I was trying to go low. I'm not trying to.
Get it right, Richard.
Get it
what is
right.
115. Okay, 115. What's your?
Get it right, Richard.
Height?
5'5" and a half.
5'5" and 114. If you think a 5'5", 114-pound woman is gonna make me cry, are you out of your mind?
Wait, get on top. Get on top. Get a quick.
No,
We gotta
let's
get.
go
Yeah,
on topic.
it's
Y'all
not
saw
about
how
insulting
he.
each
Y'all
other.
saw how he. No. This is on topic. Y'all saw how he quickly
a bong.
changed what he said to respect what the fuck I said to him.
All
What
right.
I told him I was.
Right. But look,
Why is it so hard for people to do that?
hold on, wait 1 second.
It was so easy for him just now. He misidentified me. I told him what it was. He identified me correctly, and
All
he
right.
apologized for
Right.
it. It's on camera.
She's trying to play these
All right.
psychological games. I mean, it's not gonna work. I don't know what you're trying.
I'm just smart. I'm just smart, Richard. I'm so
let's
smart.
go on
We're
topic.
going to reel it in. We're going to reel it back. We're
Women
going to
ain't
reel it
daddy. What are you
back.
talking about? Women daddy. Women are not daddy.
We're
That
gonna
whole
reel
thing
it
that
back.
women are daddy. That's wild.
Now he's being a hater.
I just want to answer the question you asked
Okay.
at the beginning.
So,
Let's get it back.
Yeah, the question was, say it again. Bring
Should
it back.
sexuality be taught in schools?
Okay, so I was brought up by my grandmother, and she raised me to know about sexuality because my mother is a lesbian and my father was straight and in jail. So I learned about jail stuff because my grandmother told me about it. I learned about my mother's
dropping the soap?
my mother being all of that. My grandmother was like, maybe he got a boyfriend in there. I don't know. So I learned about that a little bit and my dad did not have a boyfriend in there, but then it gave me an idea to be curious of what is going on in there. So I learned to look into that as a child, young. I learned that my mother had a girlfriend who dressed like a boy, and I didn't understand it. I was like 3 years old. By the time I was 5, I understood that she was an aggressor or a stud, and my mother was a lesbian. But my mother had mad kids, so I understood all sides of it because my grandmother was very open with me and told me like your mother's a little promiscuous, but she's gay right now or whatever. So it was kind of like an open conversation. I had neighbors who were gay. My grandmother was very close to people that was gay. I learned about them. She was very open with me. I feel like I learned sexuality in my home starting, and then I got to school and learned it through my peers. Then I became really, engaged in it as preteen and teenager, young adult, working and being out in the street and hanging out at parties and things like that. My first girlfriend I got when I was 13, 14.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah.
Wait. But do you feel like sexuality should be learned at home in that situation that you learned
Well,
it?
I don't think it should be learned at school. I think that what you were talking about with the genders and things like that, things that I don't know and I may have to look up and be more educated on, should be maybe taught in school. But I don't think that it should be pushed. I don't think that Mr. Potato Head should be just a potato head. It's Mr. Potato Head. That's who it's been all our lives. That's the toy they made. That's the toy they wanted to make. Yeah, and then there's the missus. It shouldn't be
You gotta make that attachment.
I don't feel like
They're potatoes.
all right,
potatoes.
so
They
listen.
grow sprouts?
So let me reel it back in and stay on topic, if I may.
As an educator.
As an educator, as someone who went to Wheelock College and has learned all about the failed systems in this country, education is one of them. Education has failed us. It's continuing to fail us. And I'm an educator, okay? I wouldn't necessarily rely on the educational system to teach your child anything. Don't wait for me to teach them anything. You need to begin. That's ABC 1, 2, 3, and that's gender and sexuality and how babies are made. That's all of that. I will say that I'm also someone who looks deeply into the media, into the news outlets about what's happening in the world. And right now, parents are in uproar about the ways in which schools are currently teaching sex ed. It's enough to make you want to rethink allowing them to teach it, because at some point there's different states in this country who won't allow your child to opt out. So lucky for us, we live in Massachusetts, but perhaps if you live in Texas, you don't have a choice. Your child doesn't have a choice. I'll fail you if you don't show up. But we have, books, that are very explicit with pictures. We have videos of teachers, pretending to penetrate themselves with dildos being really explicit. And this is all in the name of education. So you can easily throw things under an educational umbrella, but you have to be real detailed on what, how, who to whom, at what age. That's the whole point of curriculum. It just can't be like, yeah, they'll do it. No, you better check in on it. That's what the that's what the PTA, everybody want to come for the potluck. Don't nobody want to come for the PTA meetings. But seriously, it's teacher and his family together. It was never just my job, and it was never just family's job. That's why they say it takes a village to raise it literally does. And also, I just have to always throw it out there. There's predators and pedophiles everywhere. They're your teachers, they're your doctors, they're everywhere. You have to be really mindful, once again, about who's teaching your children about sex. To me, it's one of the most important, most precious things. You want to educate them, and you want to maintain their innocence at the same time. You don't want to make this a nasty thing. You want to make it a natural thing. And not everybody is, the word you use, legitimate, and not everybody's trained. So that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait, before that, I was gonna say that me personally, I do think like your school should teach you like sexuality, just because sex ed. Just because I had a very religious mother, single mother, and she wasn't gonna have that sex conversation with me, so I didn't even know how to get a girl pregnant. And if I did that shit, like I could have fucked up.
She saved you some heartache.
You know what I mean? Sex ed kind of helped me out a little bit. But you two go ahead. So you and then Dandy.
As a mom, I'm a mom of a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. They're both girls. And I know that they're going to learn about these things in school. It's not going to be detailed enough for me, for them. And so we have these talks, and I talk to them about sex and fluidity of pleasure and sexuality and what you like, what you don't like. I'm very open with them. So I do think it takes a village, but I can't leave it I can't leave the responsibility to their teachers. I have to talk about these things with, especially my 14-year-old, because she's in high school now. Mm-hmm. And I have to live my life by example. I don't date men, and they know that, and they see that, which I love.
Ooh.
Why? Why do you love that?
I love that for them.
You love that they don't know how to romantically interact with men? That they never see a man
I don't think they
romantically interact with a woman?
It's not about man or woman. They know how to interact romantically according to them, where they are right now. They know what that looks like. They know what that looked like for me in the past. They know what romance looks like, period. They know what it looks like for their mother to be loved, period. It's not about dick or pussy. It's not about man or woman. They know what I like, what I prefer. But to me and to them, they understand that love is love. They know that they have choices. They don't have limits. And that's what's important to me. So we have those conversations, and I don't want them to feel boxed in. I told them, you don't have to choose. Whatever you like is what you like.
So I just wanted I want to comment.
Dandy.
Well, but remember that we're commenting on each other, and he said that we gotta respond to each other. So I just want to say, because if your daughters, if one or the other isn't a lesbian, she wants a relationship with men. She wants to know how to talk to a man, how to engage with men, because boys ain't. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn the tricks. You got to learn how to approach them, how to not follow everything they say and believe everything. So when you say, I like it like that, to me, I say, oh, what if she has trouble dealing with men and doesn't know how?
We do have those conversations. I think where they are right now, they are attracted to the opposite sex. So we have those conversations. And I tell them I got to keep it real with them. I have to. They ask me questions, and it's not a one size fits all type of thing, but based off of my experiences with men growing up, especially as a teenager, I have to tell them it sounds good, it looks good, but it ain't all good all the time. So we have those conversations. I was a teenager that dated boys. So we can go back to that. I have references. They have their father. Like, we have options. There's things to talk about. Their mom has lived a full life. And that's why I'm glad that I can tell them these things. We can have these conversations.
Let's get Dandy. I know you have something to say, and then Richard. I know you have to leave, so let's get you right after, and then take a little break.
Listen, give it to us good before you leave, Richard. Give it to us good, all right? Make it good.
I know. Trust me, I get it.
This is about to be like a romantic thing.
10 years later, this nice
right? I like the way you fought with me.
You're not kidding. Stop it.
All right, one mic, Dandy.
All right. So I was going to say that, like I said, I think that time and money and effort and all that stuff should be put into making it a better education system for sexuality and just, any sexual education, because I learned so little in my sex ed class. Like, me saying that I think that we should learn about it in school doesn't mean that I learned a lot in school. I didn't learn a ton from my parents. What I learned from my parents, like you were saying, is I learned how to love people and how to respect people. I learned what kind of love I wanted personally, and what that would look like, how I should feel being loved. Like, I learned that from my parents. What I learned from sex ed was how to put a condom on a banana.
Awesome.
That's been helpful maybe 3 times.
3 times only?
Listen.
She got the best body count in history. Show and tell Boston.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in the kitchen. No. But yeah, I think that it does take a village, and you are going to learn not only from your parents. It is important to learn from your parents. You're going to learn from school, and you're going to learn from your friends. You're going to learn, if you watch porn, you're going to learn from porn, which isn't the best source of information, but you get a little bit. As a person who makes consensual, awesome BDSM porn that can be educational, I'm all about it, but there's some problematic stuff out there. But yeah, you're going to learn from a lot of different places. I think that we definitely need to put more effort into training educators to actually give us an education. And then, yes, we should learn in school. I'm so sorry.
I just want your link when we leave.
So 2 things, right? First off, what's your name again? I'm sorry. Miss Shari. So are you telling your daughters, because what it was, you have daughters, right?
Yeah.
That men ain't shit?
We have had those conversations.
Because telling them men ain't shit is exactly what I was saying earlier, that society tells, right, younger people.
It's going out with a bang.
I mean, because what you're doing is you're telling your daughters men ain't shit. She's going to believe you because of the experiences that you experienced. Just because you didn't have a good man in your life doesn't mean men ain't shit. You just chose wrong. That's your fault.
Yeah, but I also told them women ain't shit too.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's facts. That's fine.
Ain't shit.
But
People ain't shit.
But I'm just saying here, right? You're telling your daughters men ain't shit. Men are shit. Men are the best. Men are the greatest. Men are good men, really good men, and there are really good men out there. Just because you chose wrong, that's not all men's faults. Just because you got your ass cheated on or lied to or whatever it is, that is not men's faults.
All right, Richard.
That's just from you choosing. And then hold on, second off, real quick. Hold on.
Let's go.
And second off, right? You're saying that you have educational porn. Guys, look, for anyone that's out there, don't watch porn. Just end all be all. Do not watch porn.
Crazy.
It messes up your brain, guys. You're gonna get these. You're gonna get desensitized to sex. Stop watching porn. Stop paying people that do sex work for money. Don't pay these people nothing. If they do OnlyFans, guys, do not give women any money. Don't give women shit, man. All right, they're just gonna take your money, laugh, talk to the girls about it, buy whatever the fuck they buy with it, and then they're gonna go on their own way. Don't pay them nothing. Look, my mother doesn't do sex work.
I just asked if you had a mother.
But support everybody's income, honey.
The whole thing I just said was, guys, don't pay for girls that do OnlyFans, sex work, whatever the heck that is. How is that a bad statement?
Well,
you want your son paying for you want your son online paying for girls OnlyFans?
Absolutely.
That guy should be out there smashing girls in real life. That's what he should be doing.
He's definitely no. I don't want him smashing girls. I don't want him just smashing and having me as a grandmother all crazy. He can watch a little porn, get himself together. My son's autistic.
That's terrible information.
So my son's autistic, so he probably will watch a little porn before he gets out to the real world.
That is not good information. Do not watch porn. It doesn't do anything for you. You should be.
Anyways,
we only have a few minutes.
Back
a few
to what
minutes
he
to
was
attack
saying.
Richard. Still.
Back to what Richard was saying, because I made some questionable choices in both men and women, for sure. But I made some good choices too, so they know about those as well. I love that you said that, because you just give me more reason as to why.
Men ain't shit.
Why'd
you do it, Richard?
I'm fucking so hard now.
Thank you.
Yo, on that note, Richard, give us your last thoughts. Hit us with a mic drop, and then let us know where to find your podcast as you have to leave.
Guys, all right, this is what happens, right? And we see it all the time. Women will literally generalize all of men.
Even though you just did, but go ahead.
And men generalize women.
Let him go.
No, real quick, before I leave. What did I generalize?
Women will. When you say,
okay, fine,
if you say women will, instead of saying some women will, if you say men, you have to say some, most,
no,
few.
I won't say that
50%.
because majority. Because if we talk about outliers, that doesn't matter. We're talking about majority. So when I say women, right, most women will go ahead and generalize men and say they ain't shit, just like she said, because they chose the wrong guy. That's not men's fault. That's the woman's fault. Be accountable. That's all I'm saying.
And I chose some right ones too. So why are we not mentioning that?
With the women?
Because
the men and the women.
All right, then you're just making bad decisions on both genders.
That just because they're not here currently in my life doesn't mean it was a bad decision. That doesn't mean it was a bad decision. That we're not supposed to be here.
We gotta let Richard go. If you want to cancel him, if you want to follow him, yo, Richard. Wait, Richard, where can we find your podcast?
No,
Richard gotta go.
Richard is
Richard
like,
go.
somebody make sure he gets out safely.
On that note, we're gonna take a small break.
I love you, seriously.
Show and tell Boston.
Do you?
Thank you, Rich.
I don't think he do. I know you don't. That's fine.